Welcome to Talking Pharmaceuticals, an interview series brought to you by Making Pharmaceuticals and Distributing Pharmaceuticals. I'm Victoria Emerton, Conference Director for the events, which next take place in April 2025. And in the lead up, I'll be joined by experts from UK Pharma to discuss the big issues and look ahead to their involvement in the events. Now, today, I'm delighted to be joined by Dominic Parry, Managing Director of Inspired Pharma Training. Dominic, thank you so much for giving up your time to talk to us. You have been involved in making pharmaceuticals for many years. You've seen us almost from the beginning, I think, and seen the event grow. And you're always very busy. So you have a stand at the event, and you are also speaking in the conference in both making pharmaceuticals and distributing pharmaceuticals. And we'll give people the title of your presentations at the end of this conversation. So do you want to tell everybody what you're talking about at the event this year?
Yes, that's great, Victoria, and good to see you again. I'm doing two talks at Making Pharma this year. One is about creating checklists for compliant GMP audits, and the other is similar talk, but creating checklists for compliant GDP audits.
So it might seem obvious, but it probably isn't entirely obvious or clear. What exactly is a checklist in this context?
So a checklist is a tool that an auditor uses during the process of actually auditing. And it's really a series of questions that they're going to ask when they're actually speaking to people when they're on site performing the audit itself.
Okay, and what is a checklist?
So a checklist is created using the standard to which you're auditing against. And what you do is you go to the standard, see what the standard's expectations are for a particular area that you're going to audit out, and you use the standard, to create a checklist to make sure that you look at all of the key compliant areas when you're actually doing the audit itself.
Okay, and they're very important, I imagine.
They're very important tools for an auditor because without a checklist, it's easy to miss things or forget to ask certain things that are important for the audit itself.
Okay, and any disadvantages? I imagine it's a handy tool to have, but there might be things to be aware of.
Some people don't like checklists because they say that they can be a bit regimented and add too much structure to the audit, and it can mean that the auditor focuses on simply yes or no answers and moving on without getting into any in-depth analysis of what's actually going on in the area that is being audited. But a checklist is as good as you make it, and there's no reason why you can't leave the checklist and audit out any other actions that appear during the audit itself and return to the checklist. So it's only going to shackle you if you allow it to shackle you.
Okay, and there's obviously advantages. It's probably worthwhile to state what those are.
Yes, there are many advantages to producing checklists. That the first thing is that it makes you look at the standard ahead of an audit to see what the standard's expectations are. It then creates a series of questions for you to ask, and following on from that, it allows you to do the most important thing when you're auditing is to listen to the answers, because the word audit is from audio, which is to listen. And so with the bank of questions from your checklist, you haven't got to worry about what the next question is. You can focus on listening to the answers, and you can use the checklist to make notes as you go along.
Absolutely. I hadn't actually thought about the derivation of the word audit, but you're absolutely right. And listening is in itself an important skill, isn't it? So
Absolutely.
As you said, your presentations, you've got two of them. One is called Creating Checklists for Compliant GDP Audits, and the other is Creating Checklists for Compliant GMP Audits. So anybody with an interest in those areas, Dominic will be speaking, and one will be on one day of the event, the other one will be on the other. You're also exhibiting on stand number 513, and while you're off doing presentations, you'll be bringing colleagues so that anyone who wants to come along at any point will be able to talk to someone in your team, I imagine.
Yes, absolutely. Feel free to visit us on the stand or come and see me after any of these particular talks, or get in touch with us before or after the event if you're not able to make the event itself.
Fantastic. So just to remind everybody watching that attending the exhibition and conference is free. Registration is open now at www.makingpharma.com. And we look forward to seeing both Dominic, his colleagues, and anybody watching at the Coventry Building Society Arena on the 29th and 30th of April. Thank you very much, Dominic, for your time.
Thank you, and see you all soon. Thank you very much.